Welcome to the screencast on geological processes, soils, and minerals. I will go through the objectives and give you a brief idea behind each objective, and then we'll move on to other screencasts for each of the objectives. The first objective is to describe the formation of the Earth and the distribution of critical elements on Earth. So the Earth was formed over 4.5 billion years ago from cosmic dust, which consolidated into a sphere. As it formed, and we'll go through the specifics of the formation, but the materials that made up the Earth were not distributed equally from the core of the Earth to the crust or the surface, and they were not distributed across the crust equally either. And that has impacts, which we'll discuss, on the environment, on social groupings, and international relations. The second objective is define the theory of plate tectonics and discuss its importance in environmental science. So in brief, the theory of plate tectonics is that the surface of the Earth is broken into plates which move in different directions and could be side by side, away from each other, toward each other, underneath of one another, etc. So we'll look at the theory of plate tectonics and discuss its importance in environmental science. The third objective is to be able to describe the rock cycle and its importance in environmental science. So in short, the rock cycle is not really a cycle. It's a series of changes to rocks. And through this process, one type of rock can turn into another type of rock. And that has importance in environmental science, which we'll look at. The fourth objective is to describe soil formation and soil attributes. Soil formation is a long process starting with barren rock and adding organic material, and takes a long period of time. So we'll look at the processes that occur to cause soil to be formed. And then we'll look at soil attributes, which means characteristics of different soils, much like we did when we looked at characteristics of soils in lab. The fifth objective is to understand how minerals are extracted from the earth. That means how they are mined, and the impacts of mining on human health and the environment. These impacts are quite high, and that's also the subject of the open response. So first we'll look at the case study. So this case study begins with a picture of a mine in Bolivia, which is mining, I believe it was lithium. And as you can see, like with all mines, the target mineral, the target of what you're trying to mine, is often mixed with other material. And it has to be not only extracted, but also refined. And this mining process might occur on the surface of the earth, or it might occur deep down inside. Now the case study for this particular chapter is about electric vehicles, either hybrid electric, which have both electric and gasoline to operate them, and all electric vehicles. They clearly have some pros. They are much more energy efficient. They use far less gasoline in the case of the hybrids. And if it's all electric, depending on your source of electricity for your all-electric vehicle, it may actually not use any fossil fuel at all. For instance, if it was being charged through wind turbines, wind energy, though it may use some fossil fuels if it's being fueled, for example, by a power plant that's run by coal. So in balance, though, they are more efficient and use less fossil fuels. The problem is that these vehicles also require batteries and magnets that contain rare earth metals, also known as scarce earth metals. And as the name implies, there's not much of them known to be on the surface of the earth, and where they lie may not be uniform. There's one element that's used in the electric vehicles that's predominantly found in China, not the United States. And even if they are distributed throughout the world, there's still the issue of having a limited supply. That's why they're called rare earth metals. There's a limited supply and we may run out. So recycling of these components is very important, and thinking of better technologies to not need these rare earth metals is also important. Okay, let's see. I think I will go on to a second video for the next objective, which is the formation of the Earth.